Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining. I know it's late in the evening for most folks, but hopefully this will be interesting enough that this is all worth it for you, like for spending an hour with us. Um, this is kind of like the first event, I would say, like in a series of events we're planning. Because this is the first one, I plan to give a little bit of an introduction to who we are, why we started this, and um, the insight into like all this, the beginnings of this. So first of all, I believe that this is a great time, right? Great time in the history of humanity in general. We're all witnessing a lot of transformations in society. I mean, I myself, in the course of my career, I've witnessed a change in mindset, a definite improvement towards an emergence of culture of inclusivity, and in fact, even seen a lot of improvement in like the representation of women in various areas, including technology, business. Today we have like many numbers of like C-level executives, CEOs, right, in the world of technology that are women, and in fact are making a whole lot of impact. While that's all happening, and I think the development or impact of women have been like sort of linear in the last 2 decades, the representation speaks for themselves, that we're still sort of not equal in opportunity or equal in the opportunity to make an impact, or we don't have equal opportunity many places to make an impact, regardless anything, right? So one of the thoughts, like as some of us like who met at GHC, I think a lot of people here are probably have been or met us during GHC 2022, which is Grace Hopper conference, which is a very big like conference, like women-oriented conference. And one of the things that, as some of us like started talking, felt were that like in order for us to increase our impact, it seems that we kind of need to nail the basics, right? We sort of want to start at the genesis, and somewhat like this idea of like innovation, right? Like promote women with a drive to innovate. That's sort of like really our mission. We don't really see a lot of organizations with this focus. So our goal is to sort of like increase like focus related to innovation in women, and like promote women with a drive to turn ideas into something more tangible, right? Tangible assets, useful for society, even like turning them into fruitful businesses eventually, like livelihood for all of us, and so on. How we want to do it is, our goal is to really host a whole series of like possible hackathons for women to come in, participate, provide them a platform, and also help them network with other folks who can ideate, innovate together, as well as like provide like the tools, and maybe even like expose the advancement of technology today, or what's happening today, and help like provide all of the necessary tooling to improve this idea or aspect of innovation. So with that said, and that's really the goal for this specific meet today. Our goal was to bring in some cutting edge, like content, cutting edge, like technology insights. We did think that this topic was very interesting. This idea of like introducing a human in the loop of an AI to like moderate sensitive content, I think is fairly new. And we have like two experts, Lana and Zhang, who are part of AWS. We all know AWS has like been responsible for a lot of great technology, and so we really are excited to have them here. We want to hear more from them, but before I do that, a little bit of like who we are in terms of our team. So I have with me today three other team members, like who has helped put this, host this like event together, as well as helping me like and supporting this mission, and helping like increase like the presence of this org. So we have Wendy. Wendy is a backend engineer at eBay. She's been around for a long time, and I'm going to let her drill more into her experience during like the networking session after the talk from our two speakers. Also, Sushma, who is a product manager at Verizon, and Astha is not here, but Astha is here as well. Astha, who is a solution architect from NVIDIA. Myself, I'm one of the leaders for an org at OCI, Oracle Cloud. More about us, if you want to know more about us, hang out after the talk and we can chat. But without further ado, I do want to let the speakers take the floor and let us know more about what this whole topic is all about. Just a little bit of like guidance around like how we want to navigate this. In case you have, we do want to keep this interactive, but if like there are overwhelming set of questions, we would like the speakers to be able to finish their content. So make sure that like your questions are all on our chat channel, and we'll collect all of them and we could answer them at the end if they weren't already answered. That's all I had. Anything else to add, Wendy and Sushma, Astha, before we begin?
No, please go ahead.
All right, thank you, Lana and John, take it away.
Okay, great. Let me try to share a screen here. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, do you see the presentation?
Yep.
Yes, John.
Awesome. Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for inviting Lana and myself to today's webinar or session. So I drive global business development for AI services, supporting content moderation and compliance use cases with Lana, who's our senior solution architect, and you're going to hear from her in a little bit. But I've been in technology for about 20 years and got involved in AI around 4 years ago or so, and been with AWS almost 3 years now. And it is a fun and exciting time, and we think content moderation is a really cool one. And hopefully we can let people know that, you know, AI specifically for women is fun. It's better than, I think it's more fun than being an accountant or a lawyer. I think it's a great space. So today we're going to talk a little bit about creating a safe online environment to protect your brand and to minimize moderation costs, which human-based content moderation alone cannot scale to meet the safety and regulatory and operational needs, which can lead to a poor user experience, high moderation costs, and brand risk. So let me, okay. So here's just a sort of really high level of our agenda today. But more or less, you know, user-generated content is exploding in businesses ranging from gaming startups, social media, forums, e-commerce to well-established media companies. And so companies are looking to prevent inappropriate content such as hate speech, profanity, or bullying with in-game chat, you know, customer profiles, reviews, and et cetera. So the daily volume of user-generated content and third-party content has been increasing substantially in industries. Some of them I just mentioned a minute ago: social media, gaming. It could be dating, matrimonial sites, photo sharing, websites. And these companies are struggling to deal with the sudden increase in the volume, complexity, and costs associated with content moderation. So by 2028, the global user-generated content platform industry is expected to expand to over $20 billion, sort of in an annual compound growth rate of over 26%. But what's more important is that 79% of consumer decisions are influenced by user-generated content, and that user-generated content makes up today about 80% of all web content, which, so what are companies doing to cope with this? So one of the things is to talk about is that why would you want to care about moderation? As I highlighted, the volume of the user-generated content creates significant challenges for companies of all sizes. Some spend big to employ large teams of human moderators, either in-house or outsourced, based on the volume and complexity. And teams can rapidly go from a few members to a few thousand. And others rely on smaller teams and can only react when users have already been exposed to inappropriate content. Big or small, both approaches have consequences. So with AWS's AI services, it lets you scale coverage, allows your organizations to explore new revenue streams, process the growing influx of user-generated content on existing channels, and continue to grow your online communities, deliver exceptional user experience, as well as AI services review every a piece of content to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks, where you can translate text, automatically identify and redact unwanted content, or personal identifiable information. And you can integrate, as we're going to talk a little bit about, you can either integrate 2 or more of these services together to create a unique blend of multimodal moderation capabilities to match the needs of your organization. So, so today's consumers are, creating and consuming this a massive amount of user-generated content as part of their daily routine. On Facebook alone, 1 billion stories are shared every day. And today's user-generated content comes in a variety of forms from an increasing number of unique platforms. Take gaming, for example. There are more than 2.7 billion gamers worldwide. And 60% of Americans play video games at least once daily, creating one of the largest platforms for user-generated content that is growing by the second. My mother, who is going to be turning 90 in April, I would classify her as a gamer. She's got a smartphone and she plays Candy Crush and she's on social media and so on. So as the volume and complexity and speed of user-generated content increases, organizations must commit significant technical and human resources to ensure customers are not exposed to this offensive material. So have you ever experienced any toxic interaction playing any games, or have you been on your favorite social media site, or you've uploaded photos into a sharing platform, or even done any online shopping? And if so, how did you interact when you received, or your perception of receiving this change? And if you go on in your chat, you can just say a +1 that, hey, you have been exposed to inappropriate content in the past. You're showing an example of a video player enjoying, right? She's playing with her friends, sharing, things on social media and having a great time. But then here's another person that is not having a great time. She's being exposed to some toxic content out there. And then the last is, here's a frustrated gamer. And, with that is, how would you feel, as a parent, or even as, say, as a close relative or as a good friend, and you knew, one of your loved ones was being affected by this harmful content online. Myself, I've experienced it, a few times here and there. One, just on an e-commerce platform, looking to buy a product. I was getting ready to buy it, but before I was looking at the customer reviews, and some were positive, some were negative, but also in the reviews, people are able to upload images, of the product, which I thought. So going through them, and then all of a sudden I was exposed to something very, very inappropriate, and it just really threw me off guard. I said, I almost fell off my chair. And so what was my immediate reaction is that I clicked the box off and went away from that site. So at the end, of course, we all want to have a space where we and our users can feel safe. So over 50% of people said that they create content at least once daily. That's a very large population. And 70% of survey respondents stated that brands need to protect users from toxic content. And that 78% said it's the brand's responsibility to provide a positive and welcoming feedback experience. But more importantly is the critical data point of the second one. More than 40% of respondents responded that they'll disengage from a brand's community after as little as one exposure to toxic or fake user-generated content, while 45% that they'll lose all trust in that brand. So just my example, of my experience, that company, that brand lost my business forever. So with billions of people actively uploading and posting content on a daily basis, content moderation is fundamental in protecting online communities, their members, and their members' personal information. So what are customers doing to cope with the cost, the volume, and complexity? They're turning to AI and ML and deep learning to gain the accuracy and efficiency needed to keep online environments, customers, and information safe, while reducing the content moderation costs, as human-based content moderation alone cannot scale to meet the operational needs. So here's just showing an overview of content moderation. So content moderation is the practice of monitoring and applying predetermined set of rules and guidelines to user-generated content, online submissions, to determine the best if the communication is permissible or not. So an example could be you're posting something, and is that appropriate to that audience? If you're posting an image, a video, or a text message on there. So how can you make your environment safe? Using the AI services and ML services, we can talk about user-generated content a lot, but we know that content is not all one media type. It can be images, video, text, and audio. And the ever-increasing volume and variety and complexity of user-generated content makes traditional human moderation workflows challenging to scale and to protect users. So that multimodal moderation, that's the moderation of more than one media type, is possible with AWS's AI services to streamline your moderation workflows and lower the operational costs in the process. So if you look at image moderation, where you can detect explicit adult or suggestive content in both images. You can detect objects or scenes or celebrities if your use case requires for moderating on them. And some countries have requirements not to show like your competitor's logo or certain other logos in advertisement. And you can identify such occurrences using the AI and ML services. With video moderation, similar to images, you can detect and identify labels. And in both cases, you'll see later on from Lana is that the labels are organized in a hierarchical taxonomy that provides both a top-level category, such as suggestive, and nuanced second-level categories that identify specific types of content, such as swimwear or partial nudity. Using this information, you can create granular business rules for different geographies, target audiences, time or day, and so on. So your audience in the day, maybe it's younger kids or younger children, but later on in the evening, it's more of adult setting, and you can set the parameters, what's appropriate or not for your customers. And then you have text detection can be used for you to capture text and images and videos and check it against your own list of prohibited words or phrases. And if you want to further analyze text, you can use natural language processing or NLP to identify personal identifiable information or other confidential data. And then audio moderation allows you to detect profanity or hate speech in videos, where you can convert speech to text. So here is showing the AWS's ML stack. We're innovating on behalf of our customers to deliver the broadest and deepest set of machine learning capabilities for builders of all levels of expertise. So at each level of the stack, we're investing in removing the undifferential heavy lifting so your teams can move faster. So with Amazon content moderation, it sits on the AI services top layer of the ML stack, which allows developers to easily add intelligence to any application without needing ML skills. The pre-trained Amazon Recognition or Amazon Transcribe, Comprehend, and Translate API models provide ready-made intelligence for your applications and workflows to help you do things like automatically translate text, transcribe the audio, analyze the image and videos, all without requiring machine learning expertise. So as we saw briefly in the slide before, you can perform moderation using AI services on different modalities, or that's media types. So let's just briefly touch on these services. So you can use Amazon Recognition to perform image, video analysis to identify labels, text, and offensive or suggestive content. And you can use Amazon Transcribe to convert audio, speech into text. It also has built-in capabilities to redact PII while converting audio to text as well. And then for further, to check the text against a list of words or using NLP to identify profane or toxic content. And then with Amazon Comprehend, it's a natural language processing service. So you can uncover information in unstructured data. So you can capture that PII and detect the sentiment of the text. And if you're working with a global or a multilingual content, you can use Amazon Translate to translate your text and perform moderation on them. And then last is you can use the augmented AI or Amazon A2I, as it makes it easy to build the workflows required for human review, whether moderation runs on AWS or not. And then so Amazon, the content moderation AI services can be leveraged to streamline and automate your moderation workflows. You'll see in the from Lana is how you can use these fully managed image, video, text, and speech moderation APIs to proactively detect inappropriate, unwanted, or offensive content at scale and increase brand safety for you and your partners. So quickly, I'm just going to go. So around it, using the AWS AI and ML services, you can streamline workflows, and companies have been able to reclaim up to 95% of time spent manually moderating and effectively lowering your cost. So with moderation, you can automate those moderation workflows using the AI services to moderate unwanted content, right, and protect sensitive information, as well as it allows you to streamline your moderation workflows to lower your operational costs as well in the process. And you can improve your moderation accuracy and speed to market and meet specific industry needs by adding your own parameters. That's integrating additional insights or implementing human verification. So creating that safe digital space while lowering your cost with the content moderation services and solutions. So let's just show, I'm going to go over just a couple use cases or industries quickly, and then Lana is going to jump in. So some of the key industries within moderation, one is social media. So within content moderation for social media, you're able to protect your users from exposure to that inappropriate content on content sharing platforms, such as those dating apps and creativity networks. And these protections increase community growth, session length, the longer you're going to stay on it, your conversation metrics, and other responsible social media objectives and network metrics. Then you have gaming, where it prevents inappropriate content such as hate speech, profanity, bullying, and other behaviors that lower that safety and engagement in your gaming space. Additionally, moderating user-generated values such as the nicknames or profiles keeps gamers engaged and active without motive to leave the game's ecosystem. And then e-commerce. Within moderation, you can keep out the illegal or controversial items and listings off your digital shelves that violate your compliance policies to protect your marketplace and its users. We're seeing many companies today, they're starting up their own trust and safety groups to ensure that their users are not going to be exposed to inappropriate or toxic content. And the last area is around advertising or ad tech, where you can protect brands against unwanted association to meet compliance and to achieve brand objectives, to lead to revenue growth, such as brand elevation and likability. We have a company that we work with where they are doing ad insertions into into video streams. And they want to ensure that the ads that are being placed in, that it meets their criteria. Even though the ad agency might say, hey, this is safe for all people to view, they have found that many of them might be inappropriate. Maybe it's showing alcohol, maybe it's showing tobacco products, maybe it's showing some nudity in there. And depending on their audience, they have to make sure that their customers are not going to be exposed to that. So they're using moderation to take care of it. Now I am going to hand it over to Lana. And here's one last thing before I lie is, here's another from sort of highly regulated industries. So people are also, moderation is also crucial in these areas, from financial services, healthcare, and education. So they're not only in need of optimizing document and customer interaction processes, but they're also looking to protect identifiable health, financial, and other types of information to safeguard customers and minimize that risk and liability, right? So they want to do from a compliance redaction of maybe my phone number, my address, or my social security number. So now I'm going to hand it over to Lana.
Hey, thanks, Zhang. Let me take over the screen. Before I sharing my screen, let me give you a quick introduction of myself. I just turned on the camera. Can you see me?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm wearing my new blazer just for today's session. Hi, everyone. My name is Lana Zhang. I'm a senior solutions architect from AWS AI specialist team, focused on content moderation, working closely with Zhang. So a little background about myself. So I have a typical engineer background before joining AWS. Started my career 20 years ago as a software developer, and then become a technical lead, and then become a development manager for 2 years. But later discovered like I don't really enjoy being a people manager. So moving back, become an architect on the engineer side. So I joined AWS around 2 years ago. So it's a bigger platform, so where we can reach customers globally, observe the pattern, define the popular use cases. So that is one of the use case, content moderation, we have defined for AI services, right? Super passionate to grow it, to become the next successful like a revenue growth engine. So it's been quite a journey to keep on discovering what you want to do and grow into a better version of myself. So really appreciate the Growth Hack team, spend your effort, build this platform so we can collaborate. So feel free to connect during the session and after the session. All right, so that's my intro. I will share my screen and also turn off my camera to save some bandwidth. Sorry, I have a little technical difficulty to find the share button. Okay, find it. All right, I have 2 demos today for content moderation, show you how you can leverage AWS AI services in the real world to build applications and really impact your customers' experience. So on the screen, this is one of my favorite demo. We built for gaming vertical, leveraging AWS AI services. So let's do a role play. Yeah, so it's a small audience, so feel free to interrupt if you get any questions during the demo, or ask your question in the chat if you feel more comfortable that way, right? So I will do a role play. I'm a gamer. I go to a website, I want to register and start to play the game. So as we know, a lot of gamers are fairly young, right? So I may put something not so proper to showcase my personality. I may say, this is my username. And then for my, tell me about myself, I will say, right. So sorry about what I'm typing. That's the embarrassing part of content moderation demo. And then I will choose one of the favorite profile picture, right? So this looks super cool. I'm ready to register a profile using this. But wait a second, the system doesn't let me. Behind the scene, we are leveraging 3 moderation features powered by AWS AI services to moderate this profile, right? The first one is in the username, there is a bad word, right? So this is powered by AWS AI service called Comprehend. It is a managed natural language processing service for text analysis. So we have built a custom NER model for profanity detection. It can help us to detect all the profane words like this one, right? So I need to fix it to something better. And then the second moderation part is for this profile, right? So we applied 2 moderation features for this part. The first one is the same, like profanity detection. It detects this phrase is profaned. The second one is toxicity classification, because in many cases, based on the business context, maybe the whole sentence paragraph doesn't contain any bad words at all, but still considered toxic based on your business background, right? So in that case, we trained another model using Comprehend called a custom classification using the public data set for toxicity. So it helps us to identify if the sentence or paragraph is toxic. So in this case, my description qualifies both. It contains profane words. Also, it is toxic. So I need to change it to something better. So living in a wonderland. Okay, that is a positive one. I bet that will pass. And then the third one, I will choose a better picture. All right, looks safe. Let's give it another try. Okay, all the error message gone, right?
Question,
So
Lana.
go ahead.
So about, the previous username, it was a correct spelling. So I'm wondering, like, how much inference does this engine actually work on? For example, if I repeat I multiple times and T multiple times, it's like misspelling. Essentially, right? Essentially, it gives the meaning. So does that actually? Okay, so it does do the inference.
Yeah, it's a machine learning, so a little bit smarter than when you do a keyword lookup or regular expression, right? But it's not perfect. Like people can try really hard to work around that. But this is more like a reminding, because they can be really creative. If they really, really want to do it, you have, it's not super efficient to preventing those type of user, but it's more like a reminding, right? So they didn't aware, but you should do. Or another popular use case, actually, usually in the next phase, we will talk about that, is more company doing offline processing. So they collect all the input during the day and they do bulk processing during the night. And then they get a scorecard, who is a bad gamer, and then send them a warning. So that is there's a little latency, but it's more cost efficient.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, I think like Lana, Wendy was asking, I mean, I think it's so it's hard to comprehend, Lana, as to like what's so it's all really AI, right? Like, I mean, I think I'm not following like what's like the human moderation here, like element.
Oh, we haven't. It's not a human moderation. It's not in this demo.
Oh,
we
okay.
do have some solutions cover that. Like AWS has a service called. It sounds like a personal interest. I'm happy to share more contact. AWS has a service called Augmented AI. Because our message is machine learning will never be 100% accurate. It can maybe free your moderator's hand from 98% of the workload, but there's still in some case machine learning returns a result, but with a lower confidence score, right? So in that case, you want your moderator to take a look, especially for mission critical workload, right? So for example, they have a very low false tolerance, then that way machine learning and human work the best together.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was the interesting part for this. So you're saying there's a service though that does it. So how effective has that been? Is that like?
It depends. It's more like a workflow you can put together, assemble together, and based on your own requirement, right? So, and it's just a solution. If customer need human in the loop, then there's an add-on.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks for.
Yeah,
explaining.
so yeah, it's a trending. Right. So on this page, usually we want to talk about is like now a lot of gaming company, they have moderator teams manually review all the user profiles. It's a process very time consuming and error prone. So with this leveraging AI services, you can hugely automate the process. So your moderator can spend their time on tasks with higher business value. Right, so the next phase, let's talk about the pre-game. So I'm the gamer, I registered account, I log into the system. Now it's and there's many mini games I can choose from. Also, it's a time I socialize with the other gamers so we can team up and play the game together. But this is a stage with high risk of social engineering. People may ask me questions I'm not supposed to answer. For example, sharing personal identifiable information, PII. So somebody may ask me, how old are you? I'm a very honest person. I'm 12 years old. All right, so you can see automatically 12 years was identified as personal identifiable information, PII entity, and it's got a redact automatically. So behind the scene, we are leveraging a AWS AI service called Comprehend. It has another pre-trained API for PII detection. So in real time, we just call the API, it returns a result with redacted entity. But in some case, I may not typing that formally. I'm not saying I'm 12 years old. I said I'm 12. So it still recognize it because it's machine learning. It based on contact and pattern to detect the age rather than based on fixed business rules. So let's try another question. What's your home address? So I would say I'm in Toronto. Right, so Toronto is a location, so part of the address, so it detected and redacted. And then last one, can I get your phone number? Sure, my number is something. I just type a random number, and then it detected as a phone number and mask it, right? But it's not a oversensitive because in some case you may type some number in a different way. So I may say, hey, let's play a game, 1, 2, 3. Right, so in this case, it let me pass because it know 1, 2, 3 is not something super sensitive. I know some gaming company, I don't want to mention the name, they don't allow their user sharing, they want to preventing their user sharing personal information by simply not allowing them to type any numbers. So as you can see, like machine learning can do a better job than that. All right, so that is on this page. We showcase the PII detection and the masking. So I'm the gamer, so I team up with the other gamers. We start to play the game together. This is a time things getting excited, right? But as most of the new gamers, I may be really bad at game. So I got killed really soon. So this is time I get mad. I start to blaming the rest of the team members. So that, and the things get really toxic. So I may say, why don't you shoot him? You guys suck. Sorry about what I'm typing again. So you can see behind the scene, I make an API call to my toxicity classification, and it returns this is a toxic sentence. So it doesn't allow me to send it out. This is the same feature we already saw during the registration stage, right? But it's more my demo logic. I don't let them to send it out, but for the real customer, you can be really flexible. You can say, I let you send it out, but I mask it, or I let you send it out, but I send you a warning saying, hey, you are doing something not so nice, right? So it can be, it's really up to you to be creative, building features on top. And then I would say, why don't you shoot him? I need to, for the gaming demo, I need to change it to something proper. I will say, okay, great game. Although I don't think in that way, right? All right, so this is how you do toxicity detection in-game, in the in-game chat. And for the next one, I will show you something pretty interesting is audio moderation. Like, because for gaming, it's very common, you allow gamers to chat using their microphone. And how you can moderate that. So let me show you. Click on this button. It will enable my browser to access my microphone and then make a WebSocket connection with AWS service called Transcribe. It is a managed AI service for speech to text transcribing. And I will leverage the transcribing feature, real-time transcribing feature plus the moderation. So you will see the transcribing plus moderation together. I'm about to say something not so nice, which I don't mean to. Apologize in advance. I hate you. Go to hell. You suck. This is a content moderation demo powered by AWS AI services. All right, so that's a quick demo of real-time transcribing. So we can see a few things here. So it can transcribe as it is if you just talk normally. And I'm leveraging a feature offered by Transcribe called custom vocabulary filter. So what it does, it allows you to define a vocabulary, a list of words while you're doing transcribing, so it can mask those words out of the transcribed result. So in my definition, my custom vocabulary filter, I defined hell is a word I want to filter. Suck is another word I want to filter, but hate is not in the list because it considered neutral in some cases. All right, so that is a audio moderation in real-time example. Next, I will show you another.
Lana,
Yep.
can I ask a question before you move on?
Go ahead.
So typically the voice to text requires some training, like specific to the person's accent, voice, that kind of thing. So in this context, the gamers are like, anybody could be, you couldn't really train per person. So how do you deal with that?
We are having the generic model. So those most of this feature I demoed are pre-trained APIs. So you don't have to train. It is already our AI service team, data scientists already do the work, like gather a huge amount of the data, including different people from different countries with different accents to train the model. So it's tolerant on, it has a high tolerance, right? So for example, obviously I have an accent and it's able to detect it mostly, right?
I see. Thank you.
No problem. And it's a key. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Right. So it's a keep on evolving like a process, right? So because we are really dedicated to the AI and we keep on gather feedback and also the new data to improve the accuracy of the model behind the scene. So the customer can focus on their core logic instead of reinvent the wheel by themselves.
A follow-up question, Lana, a follow-up to what Wendy said. So in case that a particular game company would want custom words to be detected, is there a possibility of retraining the pre-trained model, or is it as is?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it depends on the service. Most of the service offers pre-trained API. It is not automatically, you cannot automatically feed in the feedback and retrain it. But we do have a few service offer custom model. So for example, the toxicity classification feature I shared offered by Comprehend. Comprehend has a supported by the feature called custom classification, where you can use your own data set to train that. And then you can observing based on the production feedback, and then use that data to keep on improving the model. So custom training is a little bit work to manage, but it works well for your own data set. If your use case is not generic enough, then custom model can be a good solution. But it's still much simpler comparing with managing your own machine learning lifecycle, like annotate the data, train the model, deploy it, manage the scalability of your ML ops. So those AI service custom feature is just, I prepare a training data set in a very simple format. I use it to train a model, and then I start to consume it as a normal pre-trained API. So 2 steps. And we have instructions to show you how to do that end to end.
Got it. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, so last page for this demo, but not least, is this little dummy gaming designer page to show you image moderation with gaming, right? So many gaming platforms allows you to customize the character, for example, your avatar, or even allow you to build mini games on their platform, and then allows you to upload textures to enrich your design, right? So for this user uploaded content, how you can moderate that. So that's why we have this page. So I have two characters here. One is this bulky cat. Another one is this cool gamer. Thanks, Zhang. His daughter helped us design this character. All right, so for the cat, we can change the t-shirt color. Or to an image, I can upload an image. So I'm choosing this one. Okay, it doesn't let me. So it shows me alert because behind the scene, it calls AWS recognition, the computer vision service, moderation API. It returns results saying this image contains inappropriate information in the bucket, hate symbol, Nazi party. So you are not allowed to save it. This is the same feature earlier we show while we moderate the profile picture. And we can also change the background, for example, or upload one from my local laptop, right? So I did that. So this shows me beer bottles. So it get a recognition, send a warning as well. So this is alcohol beverage. So it depends on your platform logic. You should ban that or not. It's your decision. All right, so this is a demo for gaming, how you can leverage content moderation to build a trust and safety environment for your gamers, so they are more engaged to stay on your platform. All right, we have another demo. I think we still have some time to show that. Before I get there, any other questions or you want to any use case you want to share?
I was going to ask a question similar to what you already mentioned. So it was about other applications of this end-to-end platform besides gaming.
Right, gaming, like Zhang presented during the presentation, there's a few major verticals, right? So gaming is one of them. The others like social media, e-commerce, advertisings, right? So their use case would be slightly different, but behind the scene, they all leveraging the similar building blocks. So we empower the customer to be creative and building solutions on top.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I think they mentioned a bunch of things, Astha, at the beginning, like fintech, and then marketing and ad tech, lots of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will. It's super fun to me. It's super fun to learn this customer's use case and see how creative they are to build solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So I will move on to the next demo. So this is one of our, it's a slightly different use case. You can say it's more for MME, like media and entertainment. So companies owns media assets. I'm demoing using one of our AWS solution. So for people not familiar with the concept, I can quickly introduce. So AWS, because we know we have more than 200 services and all of them support infrastructure as code. So we have a solution called CloudFormation. It's like a script. You run it, it will deploy application into your AWS account. So this is, and we have a solution hub to host it a lot of open source solutions. You just a few clicks, you can install into your own account and start to use it. So I'm about to present one of them called Media to Cloud. So this is our solution page. It shows you the architecture of this application. And also there's more information if you're interested to learn, right? And then you can either install it by yourself, just by click on it, or you can reach our team to deploy it for you if you feel more comfortable that way. So go back to the application. So this is the platform called Media to Cloud, where you can upload. It's more for asynchronous, like a bulk processing use case. So I have a lot of media assets. I have videos, images, documents, audio, podcast files. recorded already and stored on a storage service, for example, AWS S3. And then I want to apply a bulk processing, generate additional attribute out of my media files. So this is how you can do that. I will start it from the uploading process. So to show you the configuration, so it start to make sense how we leverage AI services to analyze these files. So the first step will be upload a file, right? So I will just choose a random one, like any image or videos, and then I move on to the next step. So this is a place I can configure the AWS AI services I want to apply to analyze this media file, right? So there's a few of them. The first one is recognition, is our managed computer vision service. So by default, it chooses all the APIs. So you can do celebrity detections, right? So it has a pre-trained API detect with a large celebrity pool can help you to detect the famous celebrities. It can do face detection. It can do label detection. There's around 2,000 generic labels. Like if you take a picture, it can detect many, many different things. Like there's a street, there's a car, there's a bicycle, but those generic labels. And then for moderation, of course, this is one of the focus we want to show, we want to demo. And text detection, if you have a text in your image, like a street number, or somebody wearing a t-shirt, there's a slogan on their t-shirt. So the text extraction can help you to extract that out. It's like OCR. So that's for recognition. I will just leave the default setting, choose, so it will do all the analysis. And the second portion is transcribe. Like earlier when we mentioned, this is like a automatic speech recognition ASR service, helping you to transcribing the audio into text, right? So we will apply that to transcribe the audio of the video I'm about to upload. And then the next part is comprehend, right? So we talk about that a lot during the gaming demo. So it is a managed natural language processing for text analysis. And then at the bottom is a text track. Text track is specific for document extraction. So for example, if you have PDF document or you have scanned images, right? So you print out the document and scan it into the system as an image. So this is the managed OCR, help you to extract the document into text. Those are the quick glance of all the AI services. I will not really upload it because I already have the file uploaded. So I will just show you the result. So this is one of the video we have for content moderation demo, concat it with a few typical moderation things.
This game, it sucks to lose. Stupid cards.
And also bad narratives, right? And also some bad captions on the screen. By the way, the voice was not our voice. It was generated by Amazon Polly. It is a text-to-speech AI service. We just write the script and using Polly to generate a voice. Because nobody on my team want to do that.
Bloody hell, that guy is pissing me off. What a loser.
Right, so basically you can see just a few typical moderation thing, and then we want to see how the AI service work, what it can do. I will pause here, and then we can scroll down to the bottom to see the result. So I will start from moderation, of course. So this chart shows me on the x-axis, it shows me the time series, right? So at different timestamp, what are the information detected, right? So, and the color coded, different color representing different moderation category. So for example, this frame labeled as suggestive because bare-chested male and also female in swimming wear. Those are the subcategory of the suggestive category. And with a very high confidence score, 98%. Moving on to the next one. So this is alcohol, right? So there's a beer bottle with 67% confidence. And then tobacco, like the girl is smoking. And then this is alcohol as well. And there's a violence, right? So the guy is holding a gun. This is the result you can return from moderation. So it is very specific for the moderation purpose. And then I want to also show you the label detection result. right? Earlier I mentioned it's a generic API, can help you to detect more than 2,000 generic labels, right? So what it means, let's see some example. So on the same frame, you see earlier it was detected as violence for moderation API, but the generic label detection returns more information. It shows there's a person, he's wearing a hoodie and he has a sweatshirt, clothing, person, gun, etc. If we look at the other frames, you can see there's many different information, right? So this is also useful from the moderation aspect because some customers use it to extend the moderation category. If there's something they have special requirement not supported by the current moderation category. All right, so and transcribe, right? So because earlier we heard that there's some there's a lady talking in the background, and then this is a transcribe. We transcribe from the audio part of the video, and therefore you can probably send this text to your text moderation module, for example, comprehend for further analysis. And another thing is text, right? So on the screen, you remember, let me turn this off first. And then for text, let's see what it does. So it detects text on different screens. So surprisingly on this frame, it reads the number on the poker card, right? And then let's look at the other data points. So this one we have the hard caption embedded into the video, so you can see it detected. So it's like a chain process, right? So you can get a text out of the video and then moderate it as text based on your requirement. All right, so that is a second demo. This is usually faster than the first one. This is how we can process stored media like videos and images. All right, yeah, so that's the presentation and demo, and I hope it's interesting, helping you to better understand AWS AI services and how we can help to solving real world problems.